Oh, it's off. Yeah. So, are we recording?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Sweet. So yeah. Obviously, second episode. We've just behind the scenes agreed on the name, so we're gonna go for TJ Talks.
TJ Talks, nice and simple, rolls off the tongue.
Capital T, capital J Talks, and then obviously we're talking about stuff.
Yeah. So today's topic is.
So that's on. So obviously I spoke to you previously. So I put up on my story. Anyone want topics they want to speak about? So we had one that come across from Snapchat, which was just about sort of health, like timekeeping, things like that. Like obviously how you balance having like a really busy life and sort of stay healthy in that, because obviously we both, well, me not so much anymore, but we've both had like a lot going on and still managed to do the stuff we love. So it's like very interesting to see how we do that. And then the other thing was like obviously it was very simple what was said, which was basically semi-pro footballers buying VIP tables in a club and acting like they bought land.
Oh yeah. I've seen that meme.
But like obviously we can delve into that more in terms of like we could start speaking about people, like how they act in town and how people think what they're doing in town looks, but how it actually looks.
There's a whole culture of it, isn't there? Like, you'll know that more than me now, because like you're there every night doing the DJing, and like I just remember from the time, like for me, I haven't, aside from when I went out in Dubai a couple of weeks ago, I haven't been to a club, I don't think, since before the pandemic, which is crazy because it's been that long. But like I remember from like the nights we used to go out and stuff like that from way back then, like you'd always get that type of culture in the clubs of like you'd always have the people that are stood in the corners like me mugging, looking all moody, and it's like, why did you come here to look all miserable? Like have a good time. And then you've always got the people with the bottles in the section, and that meme that said about like buying some land, like they're acting like they bought some land when they bought a bottle. That is so like accurate to how
I know exactly what I mean. The thing is, it's weird because like whenever I've had an interest in buying a bottle or whatever in the club, it's not because I want to like stand up there and feel like I'm VIP. It's I've always wanted to buy a bottle because logistically it makes sense to buy a bottle. So like I've never really got that, like I can understand where it comes from and how it looks, and obviously there is people in there that feel like them holding that Belvedere takes them to this pedestal, this summit of like level inside the club. But like for me, it's always been like, for instance, when I used to go out, obviously a lot, with my boys Lewis and stuff like that, we used to go in, and for instance in prison they would do a deal on like a Thursday where like for £50 you can have an entire bottle of vodka and a place to sit. So like if you actually work that out, what that translates to is say for instance a double's like £8. It's essentially like you only have to buy 6 or 7 drinks, and you've spent the 50 quid, but you've got an entire bottle and a place to sit. So it just made sense to have it.
It makes like logistical sense. And because you've got the kind of balance. Because I wouldn't automatically judge anyone that's in a section, because like you said, that there's financially wise, like there's ways it actually makes a lot of sense. And some people are just modest and humble, and they want their section, have a good time by themselves, and they'll do whatever they're doing. But then you do get the ones, and you see them straight away. I remember that from the days we used to be in the club, where it's the whole kind of like, look at me kind of thing. Oh, I got the bottle.
Puffer jacket's still
on.
Then
like every 10 Snapchat videos or 10 Instagram videos of the bottle and all of this stuff. And it's like, did you get the bottle just to post the bottle? Or did you get the bottle because you want the drink? There's this whole other culture that people like think, whereas, if I get the bottle, that attracts women because women just want the drink. And then it's like, where does that go? And there's so many different like avenues to it, but like,
because I was speaking to someone the other day. Well, it wasn't the other day. It was a couple months back. But he like shed like a very interesting light on the reason that he particularly, whenever he goes to a club, buys it, and it was like a confidence thing. So like he wasn't confident getting girls, but he liked to get girls when he went out. So the reason he bought a table was because it was a very, very easy way to essentially break the ice and bridge that gap to actually speak to someone. And it actually changed my views almost somewhat, because it was like, so you're actually buying it because like you've got confidence issues and like sort of issues in yourself, and that makes you feel better, rather than like but then there's obviously then the other end of it where people buy them because they know it attracts girls, and they love the fact it attracts
so
girls.
It's interesting to hear that perspective, because like whilst I wouldn't like I'm not there to critique that person for doing it that way, if I just think of how I would be personally, it's like anything I ever do, especially when it's to do with women, it's like I'm never trying to do like this little extra thing to draw women in. Like, if you're gonna come to me, if you're attracted to me, it's for me. Like, not because there's a bottle on the table, not because I'm gonna pour up this drink for you. It's because it's me. And that's like, well, I wouldn't say that's a confidence thing, but that's more so that reassures me. Okay, this is for the right purpose.
Yeah.
Because like you can very quickly like get wrapped up in this whole thing where it's like you may think someone's pursuing you for you, but it's not. It's for the money in your pocket, or it's for the drink on the table, and it's like to give me peace of mind in the purity of this interaction. It's like, nah, you're here for me. You came just solely for me. There's nothing else that you're being offered to be here right now. It's like we had conversation and you're here right now. And, that's it. Like, but
at the same time, it's like you could see why someone would do it.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like, you could see how that would sort of instill. Like, I'm not going to turn around and say that I haven't been a culprit of like standing in the booth and feeling like I might be a little bit better than someone.
I feel like everyone at a point, because I think it's one of those things where it's like at some point, especially when you're younger, you would have had that moment, because it's like everyone like experiences it to a degree. Like, so, but it's the type of people, and I think we'll get onto that in a minute, where there, and you'll know this more than me, where you see them there every week and they're doing the same thing every week.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, what's your life? Like, what are you doing?
now that I spend a lot of time in town, I like the example that I use for like the people I see, and this is only specifically to like a major nightclub, like the smaller bars and cocktail bars that I do and stuff like that. You don't necessarily see it in there, but I use an analogy, which is, you know, like old school American high school films, and they've got the cliques. You've got that in clubs, but like now you've got that in clubs in the main dance floor, and then you've also got it in the VIP. So like you've got the VIPs that are like, right, look, I've got a table because I don't like being around people. Then you've got the VIPs like, I've won this table, so I'm essentially going to come in, get the drink for free, get absolutely yacked, and then either leave early, or then you'll catch you on a dance floor being wild as hell. And then you've got sort of that table that like there's like a mix of people. It's like a birthday. There's people that don't necessarily want to go out, but they're always like out anyway, but they're sat on the table, don't really want to be there. And then you've just got the wild one, the one that's like cash order on the table, tipping the drink on the floor, like,
trying to draw all the attention to them, like look at me, cameras flashing everywhere and all that.
And they're the ones I don't get. Like I really don't get why you'd be that way. If you've got the money, then fair enough, and if that's what you like doing, but like it's like antisocial at the same time. But my
thing about that is, and this goes for a lot of things in life, I feel, people with money or people with some form of wealth are the ones that aren't making the noise about it. Like, you usually don't spot those people because it's normal to them. They just act however they act, and it's like they don't try and draw attention to their wealth. Or I feel like anyone that gets like a quick flash of wealth, or if they, I don't know, a tax return and they got a lot more money than they thought now, then it's like all gone on one night, and it's like you can kind of, from their behavior, tell, you're not used to having money, or, you know, you're not used to conducting yourself in a certain way. And I feel like that's why there's certain, like you said, there's certain types of people that would be in that section. And for a lot of them, I wouldn't judge them as much as I would judge that type of people, where it's like the very showy type of people. The person that likes in there for the confidence, okay, I can understand it. I wouldn't personally do it myself, but I can understand it. There's more of a logistical reason for why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, it's like, you know, are you doing this for you and your friends, or are you doing this to project a particular lifestyle or look that you feel you have to social media?
There's so many more ways. Like you sometimes I look and I'm seeing these tables go, and it's like between 5 and 10 like man, and I know for a fact they've cleared through the best part of between £800 to £1,000 between them. You're kind of thinking to yourself like that's like, you know where that money could go.
That's a holiday. That's
like one. You're buying one bottle each for £200. Like, yeah, like
and they'll do that and end up with no women at the end of the night and be like, that's a failure.
Or they've like absolutely cleaned up. But then it's like, you've cleaned up for what, you know? Like, at what cost?
Yeah.
At what cost?
You know the next morning they're going to feel that. They're going to act all cool. And they're drunk too. So they're drunk in the moment. They're not really thinking about it. Next morning they'll look check that bank balance.
And they're like,
and then they'll probably still do it the next week anyway.
But you know what? You know the reason that you know the reason that we know that happens is because we've been there.
Yeah, everyone's been there at some
there.
point, like where you've gone out for a night out and you've kind of like. But then that's the thing, because like at a point, they got to a point, and I got to this point quite quickly in my time going out, where I was like, I'm not into buying all these drinks in these clubs for these extortionate prices. So I'd always buy drinks from like Tesco, whatever, do my little mix, and the pre-drink ritual was important.
You and Wilson. It was you and Wilson like, specifically. Like you taught me the way for that. Because if you remember, I always used to be like, let's meet up early and let's go to town. And let's do like 50, 60 quid. And then you were like, no.
Hold on.
No,
Let me go to Tesco, grab my vodka, grab my juice.
It was like
mix it.
It was like, no, young hard one. This is the way you do it. Like,
it's like, I'll get you drunker in this house before we leave than you'll ever get in the club.
Oh,
like,
and it was like the little shots or the absinthe, or it was like the Echo Falls wine, lethal stuff, mate.
But yeah, that like for example, the absinthe. For anyone that don't know, the absinthe is like it's usually ranges between like 80 and 90%. I don't think you can even buy it legally in this country anymore. But back then, you could buy like a bottle of it that was like 85 in Tesco. It was like a big green bottle.
It's disgusting.
2-3 shots of that, you'd be good for the entire night.
It's like
but it tastes like licorice though. It's disgusting.
Stronger than anything, but. That's an interesting question actually, like that I'd give to you, because I know my one, but like there's always been a time where you've done something wild when you've been drinking in terms of like a spend. So like, what was your wild spending experience, specifically when you were drunk?
I can't think of one, I've been pretty good with it, but I can give you a story on just some crazy shit that happened one time when I was drunk, and this goes into the whole pre-drink thing, I guess, because I was so committed to the pre-drink. There was a time I was running late to get to the venue, and I think it was me and Wilson at the time, and we were rushing into the centre of Bristol on a bus, and like we had no drink, we hadn't drank anything, and we're like, we need to drink something. So we ran into one of the off licenses in Stokes Cross, I think, and all they had there was like a bottle of whiskey or something. I do not like whiskey, like the aftertaste of whiskey I can't stand. And I think it was SWX we were going to, which at the time was probably Syndicate, and we were sprinting across the bear pit and down in this whiskey at the same time. And like the way my body reacts to whiskey, like I remember downing like a couple chugs of that, and then seconds later it was all on the floor, like just spewed right back up, like instantly. It was just like down.
You kind of like when you're sat there and you kind of just think like, you just sometimes, bro, I have it a lot, man. Like I'm just, it's like it gives me like it's almost like PTSD and anxiety all combined. Like whenever I think about the stuff I've done, even the stuff that we've done, like our nights were just for no reason, just at a different level. For absolutely no. Like, I remember there was that one time where it was at Wilson's first flat up in Cribs Causeway. And we walked in and we're just lining down absinthe before going out, and it's like
I got videos of that still. We were doing like one shot after the next, and then I remember doing like a double shot.
But like the funniest, for instance, like obviously you know me, like and how I used to be with alcohol. Like I've slept on roundabouts, I've done everything. Like the funniest time I remember I ever had was I woke up. And I've looked into my emails and it's like night confirmation. It turns out when I've been drunk, and this was one of the absence nights. It was actually one of the nights I was out with you. It's a Brooklyn Zoo night. And what I'd done is I'd ordered every colour variant of a specific type of Nike shoe from their website. It was just like, I looked and I was just like, and you know the funniest thing is about it, was that I didn't even like the shoe. Like I wouldn't have ever even bought a single type of that shoe.
You went for every colourway.
Yeah, obviously, like luckily I 14-day call off, not been shipped, so I'd managed to cancel and get every bit back. But I looked at my account, it was like £648 was gone. It was like every colour of a shoe I didn't
one shoe like. That you didn't like.
And then it was like we were so drunk, or I don't know if you were there or not, but I was so drunk that I don't even remember why I would have even how I've got onto the Nike website, B who purpose? I was talking to about these shoes, and C like what possessed me to go and buy because like I'm not really a shoe person. Like in the first place, not even remotely. Like shoes have always been mainly your thing. To be honest. Out of like us three, like the whole old group, shoes was always you. And it was just honestly, I looked at my emails. I was baffled. I was just like, what? And obviously there was that moment of that dread moment where I was like, looked at my bank account. I had £17.50.
And then you got the next bill's about to come out tonight.
Honestly, I was just, it was just stress.
No, there's so many memories like that from when we used to do it frequently too. It was like every week.
It was like every week, but like you guys were so good at getting drunk for cheap. And I was so bad at it, but I was always out still.
So, yeah.
And I remember at one time when I was like, I must have just turned 18, it was me and Luke Pimble, and I remember I went out and I'd spent my entire paycheck in the night. Right? And I lived in Southmead and I worked in Cribs, bro. It was winter.
It was
a cold, no lie, it was a cold winter's day and I walked from Southmead to Cribs Causeway.
Those are those moments where you learn the lesson though, like that type of experience, like, right, this can't happen again.
I was just walking and like I had my little, like, at the time it was skull candies. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah,
those.
I remember those.
I had my little skull candies in, and I think it was like Replay by Ayaz was playing. I was just walking down, like, just trudging through. It was so cold, and then it was like, it was all alright, but I was doing 1 till 9 p.m. and then I had to walk back because I still had no money.
Like maintain some sort of energy at the end of that shift to just travel back.
And it was like, I remember me and Luke used to just to save money because we'd rather get like an extra round. We'd walk from town to Southmead back to his house to sleep. And it's just like, for what reason?
For the sake of that extra drink.
Yeah.
It's like you did add like a 40-minute walk onto your...
Back then, before COVID, the taxis and everything were reasonable prices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You'd rather walk.
And I think that's where it's come from, is that I have been majorly out reckless, but I've been majorly reckless in a way that's just like stupid ways, not majorly reckless in like an egotistical way.
Yeah.
Like, let me go spend all my money so people know it. It was just, I was just spending it.
Yeah, and you're just having a bit of fun. Like an example I can give recently, like I said, is when I was in Dubai a few weeks ago, me and my friend Zeb, we went on this whole mission because we were trying to find, there's a lot of clubs in Dubai, but there's like different districts around the whole cities. And the way Dubai is, it's really interesting because there's like a big highway that circles the whole city, and there's very little noise pollution and traffic that goes inward. Okay. So if you're traveling around the city, you always end up on the highways going around, and it's the type of thing where if you miss a turn in, you probably added 20 minutes to your journey because you go all the way around. And we got to like a particular section, and we wanted to go to this place, and we got there, and it turned out it was closed, even though they were advertising an event that night. And we're like, okay, we need to kind of think of something on the fly now. And we there was something nearby, but it was like across this like little river, and we could see it, and we're like, how do we get there? Because there's not a lot of ways to walk through these areas in Dubai either, so we had to like go all the way around and up on this highway. But we eventually got there, and it was this lounge place, and it was really cool. Like, it was like a bar kind of lounge, and the music was really good. They were doing some really interesting mixes because it was like familiar music from like, say, early 2000s, but then they were doing all these different type of like multi-genre mixes with the songs.
Yeah, interestingly enough, actually, Zeb actually messaged me a video and was like, "Can you please find me this remix?" So like, I actually know exactly. Like, weirdly enough, I know exactly the music you're on about. Yeah. He asked me to sort like find the song
because it was really good. We were like sat there, and it's weird because like being at this age now, it's like it's weird how the dynamics shift when you're in those type of environments. Now it's like, I mean, to be fair, I've always wanted just good music when I'm in a club. That's the main thing I'm there for, is music and a good time, and that was like a nice vibe. But Zeb did get some bottles in, and that's the type of thing where it's like, that's not a show-offy thing. That's more like we're in Dubai, we're gonna have some bit of fun. Get the bottles in. But then for me, because I don't really drink, like, and there's another story as to why I don't really drink, but it's something that happened in lockdown. But I'll get onto that in a minute. But so we were drinking up these bottles, and then we were with these girls, and we were having these conversations, and it was all good. And as I got towards the end of the night, I was like, oh, I'm actually really drunk. I haven't been this drunk in years. And like, it was good. It was all like a good feeling. But we were meant to be going jet skiing the next morning, and it got to like 4 a.m. We left the place, and we're like, we got to reschedule that jet ski.
Immediately.
And like, we got back to the hotel. I think Zeb was pretty good. He got in bed and just fell asleep straight away. The room started spinning for me. It's like, oh, I haven't felt this in years. And I was like, what can I do? As soon as I got in our room, I think I downed 2 bottles of water. I had an apple, ate that, and I was like, all these precautions to try and stop that hangover. And I was lucky because woke up the next morning, felt fine. Zeb felt it a little bit. But I remember when, and this goes back to the days when we used to go out, and why I think I was able to do it so frequently, is I never got hangovers back then. Yeah. So no matter what I drank, and we used to drink a lot, I'd be fine. I'd know the next morning I'm fine. Like, we go out on a Friday night, I'd have work at like 9 in the morning on a Saturday, wake up fine, go to work, back out on a Saturday, fine. It
was horrible.
Yeah.
It was hell, actually. When you actually think about it,
I don't know how I ever did it, or why I found it appealing, but like, this time around with Dubai, it was like, oh no, I gotta actually take precautions. I need to eat this apple, I need to drink this water. I was almost gonna get some bread, but I was like, I need to make sure I'm not hungover.
I still remember vividly my dynamic exit out of our lifestyle of doing that. I remember exactly when it was. I was working at Samsung at the Mall, and we'd went out. I'm pretty sure it was a Brooklyn Zoo night again. Basically, the nights that ruined us. Yeah. But like the best music nights.
That was always the ones where you go all out for that one. Yeah.
And I remember we finished it up, and I think we must have went back to the flat for a bit, and we must have like continued drinking and that, like playing some music at the flat, like as we did. And I think, if I remember rightly, did you want to just tap that real quick? I think if I remember rightly, we must have drank for so long at the flat or whatever. We didn't sleep. I don't know what we were doing, but I remember going to work and I actually took an hour kip in Costa at the Mall.
But that's the thing.
It was an hour. It must have been maybe an hour.
Was that when you were supposed to be working or just before?
So this is just before my shift. So like I went up there, tapped out because I'm almost sure what was going on was that the party at the house wasn't stopping.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you guys were going, so I was like, well, I'm not going to get a sleep here, so I may as well go over there. And I remember it used to be so much to the point where I remember I would just be catching naps wherever I could, like the bus, 10 minutes, go on my lunch. I remember I used to go to the toilet in the middle of my lunch, like in the middle of a shift, and I'd have a 10-minute nap on the toilet. I would actually sleep on the toilet to stay alive.
But it's crazy how, like, when you look at the time, you're going through all that, and it's like you're aware of it. But it's crazy how, like, looking back on it now, you're like, that was crazy. Like, that was insane. Yeah. Like when you think about it, it's like we did all that for what? Just to have a good night out. Like, it was a good night out. But it's like we'd always stretch it to the limits, like
always. It was always just a little step as well.
Yeah.
Like, we always used to just keep edging it. Like it was all a little bit more drink, a little bit later, a little bit more.
Stretch it out as far as you can. Like I remember the nights where I used to like say get the bus back from town to like Patchway, and then I'd have to walk from Patchway to Bradley Stoke, and that's like a half an hour walk. But that's like a half an hour walk at 5 a.m. when I got work at 9 a.m.
And it was just relentless.
Like, I don't know how like these days like I might not sleep. Like, I don't sleep early at all. I'm always sleeping like late, like after midnight. But I like to be in my bed, or I like to be in a cozy setting. Like, whereas back then, like, if I go out to a club now, it's like I wouldn't probably be there past 3. I don't think. Like,
to be honest, 3 is like typically speaking now. 3 is like the time for clubs to end. But like for me now, I still don't get hangovers. I'm quite lucky, but what I do get is, and it obviously it takes a lot to notice it. People don't necessarily notice these kind of things, but once you do notice it, if you're someone who wants to change it, it's something that can like really impact your life. But like for me, I won't get a hangover, but I'll be sluggish, and I won't be at my 100% for a minimum of 3 days. In terms of like when I say 100%, I mean like my mentality. So like my mental capacity to do the stuff that I do, sat down with you right now. If I was to have drank last night, I'd still do it. But I'd just be that little bit turned off. I'd be probably at, I don't know, like 70%. But even when you're feeling 100%, you're still not there. Like, I haven't drank now. I had a few drinks for New Year, but I stopped just before New Year because obviously I was DJing and I didn't want to mess up the countdown. It's important. And I know a lot of DJs that have like messed it up and done that. And
you've never been seen again.
You're remembered for it. Like, you're still around, but you're remembered for it. Like, and I don't want to be that guy. So it's like, and then it's like, but this into the entire amount of days into this year. So what we're on now, is it the 11th or something? Yeah. So like I've been non-stop like content. Like obviously our previous podcast, as you've seen, I've put captions. I've made, I don't know, maybe 8-9 clips from that podcast. We're on a second podcast. Like by tomorrow, I'd have another 8-9 clips. I've done my own DJing clips, like aesthetically, like recorded them and edited them myself. Like I've been non-stop. Whereas if I was to have drank, I wouldn't be doing that stuff. I know for a fact I wouldn't. I just wouldn't like. You
wouldn't be like as in tune with what you're doing as well. Like I know, like there's examples. Like I feel like I'm like that when I just don't get enough sleep. Like I don't get a lot of sleep in general. To be fair, like 5 hours is probably good enough for me. Like in one go. But like if I'm really short on sleep, I notice the next day when I'm working and anything else I'm doing, it's like that cognitive function in your brain is just not all the way on.
It's not, no.
And like you just feel slow. You feel sluggish. You kind of feel you feel just induced by some sort of slowness.
Oh yeah, it's like I always say it like, I always translate it like your energy. Like imagine your energy as like a high quality music clip.
Yeah. And
then like imagine like you're listening to that music clip through a radio.
Yeah.
That's how my energy feels.
Yeah.
It's just like distorted. It's just like
static. Like,
and it's that like mental battle as well. Like for me now it's like wake up like. have breakfast,
Yeah.
go to the gym, but then it's like it's wake up and like battle myself to get up again, battle myself to go to the gym, and actually get into that swing of things. Whereas like now it's like bam, bam, bam.
It's automatic, and like it's like the routine where it kind of comes in, and like gym is something like that's been for me quite, especially over the past couple years. I've been like really in a flow of it where it's like I actually feel weird if I don't go. Like if I don't have my like right now I do 3 sessions a week, and that's because I do full body, so I need like the rest days in between. But like if I don't at least hit those 3 days, it feels like a weird week. Like something feels off. Like wait, I haven't gone to the gym. Like whereas I think for some people with gym, especially when they're starting off, it's the opposite where it's like they've really got to push themselves to go.
Yeah.
But then what they need to trust is that it's that habit. Once you build that habit, then it all just flows, because you will reach a point where you will feel strange without it, and then it's like the opposite effect where you have to be in the gym. But I think that's like an interesting thing for people to like balance when they do start with gym stuff.
Well, they do say they don't they? They do say what is it? It's if you do something
like a month,
every day for 30 days.
Yeah. Then it's build a habit. Yeah.
Like gym's the same thing. Like I'm a massive drinker. And I'm gonna look at the camera because I know there's people that disagree with me at the moment, because like basically there's a running joke recently that I don't drink my drinks.
Yeah.
Even though you know that I'm a good drinker. At the moment, there's this massive running thing within my group that, like, essentially what I do is I don't drink my drinks and then say that I can out-drink everyone. Now, I'm confident I can out-drink everyone. It doesn't matter. But if I was to go out and heavy drink, I will go to the gym still. Like, it's not like I never skip the gym, but I just won't do the stuff at the gym that I want to do. Like,
not and maximum output.
It's just, it's just not operating at the capacity that you'd like, that I'd love to be operating at all the time. And it's just, you kind of think to yourself, once you get older, like obviously I'm breaching 28 this year, like I'm getting on for sure. It's like, is the trade-off of having a slightly better night, arguably, if you think being drunk makes the night slightly better than you could have had sober or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it worth those 3 days that you could have used to like
do something productive?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of those ones, like it's a massive health like piece that we could touch on, but the health benefits of not drinking.
Yeah.
Like even and that's the thing though, is those once you break the habit of those 30 days, you have to then do it for another 30 days to get back in.
That's
that
the
habit.
thing. Like, and I've had that before. I'm trying to think of an example I can give. To be fair, it happened with when I went to Dubai. So there was a gym in Dubai, and I did use it, but obviously I wasn't doing my proper sessions. So my proper like full body sessions usually probably take me around 2 hours, because I have like ample rest time, because I'm lifting quite heavy. It would be ample rest time between each exercise. So I wasn't hitting those exercises the same way I would back at home. And then obviously I'm not getting the protein intake, because I usually aim to eat 180 grams of protein a day, and do that consistently. And that's all from like the actual like meat products mainly. So I wouldn't take any shakes or anything like that. And out in Dubai, there's no way for me to really keep up with that. So like I lost my step with that. And that's an example of one of those things, like you're saying with like say the drinking and then not being able to focus on what you're doing the same way. I feel it in the gym. Like if I'm not, if I'm eating my protein, 180 grams every single day, and I'm doing my gym routine, like how I'm doing it in the full routine, you almost feel superhuman. Like I can feel it. Like every time I'm in there, you feel it, and you feel every improvement, and you just feel on it all the time. When I came back from Dubai, I think that even in that week afterwards, because it was just the week after Christmas, I didn't really get fully back into my gym routine then, and the eating side of it definitely wasn't fully back, and I wasn't eating all the protein that I needed. And then going back into the gym full routine the week after is like, oh shit, like I could, not that it became difficult or anything like that, but I could just notice the difference. Like
you
it was just like,
there.
yeah, I'm not at that peak level. Like whereas I'm so used to every time I step in the gym, I'm already at that peak level for me, and I'm pushing new PBs and all that stuff. This time it was like, oh wait, I've got to like rebuild myself back up to that. So anytime I like miss a gap somewhere with the gym routine or protein levels kind of dip at some point, I tend to knock from wherever I'm at with my personal best, if it's with a deadlift or anything like that, I'll knock it down maybe 20 kg and then work my way back over the next few weeks. So for me, that automatically puts like the next 2-3 weeks building back up to where I was. So it's like when I then think of things like, oh, if I'm going to go out to drink, or if I have a lazy day and let that protein thing slip for one day, it's like, no, it's not worth it, because it's going to cost me 3 weeks of... Not that I would even need to spend 3 weeks building back up to it, but I just feel like the natural progression, I like to just find my flow and build up to it.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like it's everything in modesty, isn't it? Like, is it worth that trade-off for certain people? And the thing is that regardless of who it is, at what age, you say, if someone turns around and says that heavy night drinking doesn't impact them at all, they're
a lie.
A liar. They're
and even if you don't think,
liar.
even if they don't think it or feel it, it's affecting your body. Especially if you do go gym. Like, I can't remember like the ins and outs of it, but I know that the alcohol stays in your body for X amount of time, and the way that impacts like your muscle gains is quite significant. So like, alcohol is one of the worst things you could be consuming, really, if you're trying to do anything in the gym. Even if you think you're doing it modestly, like a couple drinks here and there, still are having an effect on like your muscle gains.
No, it will, yeah, and that's the thing. It takes so long when you're growing up to realize these effects.
Yeah.
And people always pin it to age, but it's like, I don't actually believe it's age. Like, obviously age has a factor, but everyone says, oh, you hit that certain age, oh, I'm too old to drink now, hangovers hit. It's not actually so much that the hangovers hit, it's either, it's like for instance with you, it's not that your hangovers are worse.
Yeah.
It's that your tolerance to alcohol is less because you don't drink as much.
Yeah.
Like, going from drinking every single week and essentially doing nothing but working to drink and drinking to go work. You're gonna slow down. You slowed down now to like what? Like you said, basically.
I bet like,
2 years.
before, like there was a gap. So the reason it wasn't even a conscious decision to stop drinking. It was more a case of just I didn't feel like drinking. But the last time, because I went for like a 2-year span where I didn't really drink anything. And the last time I drank before that was during lockdown, where you remember everyone was doing those Instagram like live challenges.
Did you ever get stung with that? Like, I nominate.
Yeah, that was it.
My
And
God.
I was on live, and I had like a bottle of vodka that was like that big, and like I think I was drinking it straight. No, I must have been mixing it with something, and I was drinking it, but I was behind on the challenge. So because I was behind on the challenge, I was just constantly kind of trying to keep up. And that was the fastest time. Like, as soon as I came off that live, that was the fastest time I've gone from sober to drunk. Like, one of the most drunk times I've ever been. I remember I come off that live, tried to play Call of Duty, and like the whole game was spinning. I was like, I can't focus on anything.
Gone.
And then like I remember I went and sat down on the toilet downstairs, out. Woke up, it was like 2 a.m. Like, wait, what's going on?
Jesus.
And I was like, and the hangover was awful. And I was like, hey, I bought a cocktail maker and all that in lockdown. Didn't touch it after that.
Doing the whole bit.
I was like, no, I'm done.
Tipsy bartender.
Tapping out. And
Well, that's another interesting question. Now, whilst we're on the topic, so like obviously mixing drinks and stuff. What's your favourite like secret mix that like you would bring and make at a party that you know like hit real nice? You know what mine was?
What?
Tequila and bubbleade.
Interesting.
Do you remember bubbleade? Like, you used to buy it for like 17p in the shop for like 2 litres or something.
Something like that.
The stuff was like
And just
abnormally
mix it
cheap for no reason. You just put like, and it obviously excessive drink or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like 2-3 shots of tequila. It was just like pour the tequila.
No sort of like measuring. It's just like
the bubbleade was just so strong and so different of a taste to tequila. Obviously, tequila was quite clean anyway.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't taste it. It would be just like tasting the bubbleade, and then it would just have a slight lemony, you're going to be in pain type hit to it. But like it hit so nice.
So mine was
until
the next morning.
No, until like you just step outside and all of a sudden you're like, whoa,
buzzed.
You know that one, like where you drink a drink and you're like, yeah, this is basically not alcohol. And you think you're like the powerful person in the world.
Yeah, and then
all of a sudden, it's the air. Yeah. I remember we always used to drink so much in the club, and then we get in a taxi and the air would hit me in the taxi and I'd be like,
reality hits. Like, I think for me, one of the ones I used to do a lot was Lucasade and just vodka, and that was for the same reason that you kind of mentioned, where the Lucasade had such a strong taste, it just killed that nasty taste of the vodka, so you didn't really taste it.
Yeah.
But the problem was, you did get that kind of little hint of it within it.
You know it's there.
But I used to like Lucasade in general back then. And I've kind of stopped drinking it ever since, because now whenever I drink normal Lucasade, it tastes like alcohol to me, because it's like I can almost imagine that twangy taste of alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So it almost tastes like alcohol. So I kind of ruined the taste of Lucasade.
That's the caveat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you get your favourite, like anyone could take their favourite non-alcoholic drink and mix it with alcohol. But if you take it too far, like for me now, like, I couldn't go near. It's not even that I can't even go near bubbly anymore. I can't go near any of those aged drinks. You know?
Yeah, just
cherry, like.
And that's another thing in general. To be fair, like fizzy drink. I remember back in college, I was a nightmare with Monster Energy and stuff like that. And I still drink Monster Energy from time to time now, but it's Monster Ultra, which is like sugar free. And that's what like a lot of people, if you see with like fitness, people doing fitness stuff, if they want to like energy boost, they'll drink that, because obviously they put extra shit of God knows what in there, but like the actual sugar content is not there. But like I remember back in the day, those like full sugar cans, I used to drink those like every day going to college and rely on those to keep me awake. And it's like, once again, it's that type of thing where when you're younger, you do things and you're not really thinking about the effect it's having on your body.
Yeah.
You think I was thinking that was helping me, when really that, if I look at that and assess that now with my mind now, it's like that amount of sugar from those type of drinks every day and relying on that is like, that's not healthy.
It's
right?
relentless.
It's like
my one when I was younger was relentless.
Oh yeah,
relentless.
I remember those.
I just said it's relentless. The actual drink relentless.
Yeah, I remember those.
Remember those ones? But like I remember like relentless used to taste nice, and I used to get this like this buzz off of it. And again, like when you were younger, you just didn't care about anything.
Yeah.
You're almost reliant on this energy now to like stay at like the peak that you wanted to be back then. But like, do you remember those like 35p energy drinks?
Yeah, there's like Kick and whatever. Like there's really cheap
it was
ones.
That one like grey bottle. Yeah, looked like it'd been photoshopped or something made in paint.
There's really
and like it was like 60p for like a litre of energy.
Like
I actually do like the taste of it even now. Like I still like the taste of it. I wouldn't drink it. But I just know that
you just know it
crushes you. But
all the stuff in it as well.
I actually just do really like that specific taste. I wish there was something out with that. But
that was cleaner, like more of a cleaner taste.
But again, it's one of those ones. It's like when you're in gym and you understand how gym works and how your body works and what's good for your body, you understand that like these drinks that you have, they are merely designed to give you a boost in performance. They're not designed to carry you through your day.
You know exactly. I mean? Yeah, you can't rely on those things for your energy, and that's where like the timekeeping comes in. I guess that kind of funnels onto what that other question was. We kind of covered it already, but like when it comes to like health and like timekeeping, especially as a man and especially as a creative, I think if you're a creative person or you're doing some sort of thing within, say, entertainment, so say like you're a DJ, I review films and things like that, I think you naturally are doing so much, or there's so much you want to do every single day that you've got to kind of pace yourself. Because one thing I almost did this year is like, right, new year, I want to do this and this, hit the ground running, do this and this. I almost burnt myself out in the first week. It got to the end and I still haven't fully recovered, to be honest, because I didn't really rest. I usually like to keep a day on the weekend to kind of rest a little bit, but I didn't do it. And like I'm feeling it this week because it's like I haven't had my day to really slow down yet. And it's like, yeah, you've really got to work out your mileage on what you're doing, kind of pace yourself through it. And then that's where, like we said, things like drinking, if you do that, or other things like that, you've really got to think about how that fits into it, but not just a case of, oh, have I got the time to go out and drink tonight? Yes, I have. But what's that going to do tomorrow? What are my plans tomorrow? What did I want to do tomorrow? How's the alcohol going to affect that? And then you got to really like think about it like that, like, because like you said before, sometimes it's not worth it. The trade-off isn't worth it. Like if you want to get 5 things done the next day, you may not be hungover and you may still be able to get those 5 things done, but are you going to get it done to the level of efficiency that you would have done without it? And are you going to be satisfied with the level you did? And it's like, then is that worth the alcohol? You could still go out and have a good time without the alcohol. You could have a mocktail or whatever. But
then, to be honest, like if anyone was to ever be realistic with themselves and just sit down and say, right, is the trade-off ever worth it? The trade-off's never worth it. But like, it's touching on what you said a minute ago. The 2 main things as a creative that I would recommend, hands down, 1,000,000%, is timekeeping. But not timekeeping, but creating giving yourself a rota, however that looks. Giving yourself a rota or a routine doesn't even necessarily have to be a routine, but like you could gain a routine from not wanting routine. So like I don't like routine. I don't like saying, right, I'm gonna wake up, do this, do that. But what I do like is at the start of the week or at the start of like the day, or maybe the end of the day ready for the next day, I like to plan what my next day looks like. And that's almost my routine now. Like my routine is to plan my next day. It's not to say, right, I'm going to do this and this, but I like to get my gym out of the way. I like to wake up, fuel, gym, and then for me personally, it's like then after my next meal after the gym, so it's like wake up, fuel, gym, fuel, and then it's like, right, what am I going to spend my day making now? Like, that's what I like. But then at the same time, I don't like to fall into the habit of saying every single time I'm going to wake up I want to go to the gym straight away, because if there ever is a day where you've got something on, like for instance, like we've just mixed in these new podcasts. My normal gym time was obviously midday, and originally we planned to meet on a midday. It meant I wasn't able to gym, and in my head I was like low key kind of stressed.
Because like, where am I going to fit that in?
Like I wanted my gym here, and I've just planned to do this. Like so, like that's why I never like to do that, because if you ever set your mind up to fail in any type of way, your mind can take a fell in a way that you don't even think a fell's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
hit.
like it's crazy because like one thing I've noticed for myself over like, and I've not had this officially diagnosed, but I just know from doing my own research and knowing myself, I realized in like recent years I have OCD, but like OCD is so oversimplified in a general way. People think OCD means you love to clean and you don't like dust, but there's so much more to it, and it's about like how your mind like there's certain triggers for your mind. For example, like say if you leave the house and lock the door and then you're down the street. Oh wait, did I lock the door? You know you locked the door, but your mind's telling you, wait, maybe you didn't. What if you didn't? And like it's those type of thoughts. But that it goes into a lot of different things. Excuse me. And like for me, I notice it in like if you're planning things. So like if I'm planning out my day or my week or whatever, and one thing goes out of line or one thing goes out of sync, like you were saying, with like the gym's now been replaced by something else. All of a sudden, it's like my head is like, not even in like an overly negative way, but a bit of a frenzy, where it's like, oh wait, that's changed, so now this has happened there. And I get it if I make plans with people sometimes. Let's say if you, with women for example, if I arrange to meet someone or go on a date or something like that, it's like I have to be very certain that this day and that time works for me.
Yeah.
Like not in a selfish way because it's got to work both ways, but like if I put that on the wrong day and I wake up that morning and I'm not like just mentally not even in like a nervous or anything like that. I don't get nervous, but just like in a oh wait, but my mind was regulated to focus on this today.
Yeah.
And now I've got this here, which isn't usually on my Tuesdays, and now I've got to kind of make sure I'm in the right frame of mind for that. And it's like and then funneling on to what we said before, if I don't have a good night's sleep before then, or if I didn't get my gym on that day because I've had to fit something else in, it's just those little things can throw your whole mind out of sync, and then suddenly it's like just throws you off balance.
I know what you mean. There's like a slight noise.
Yeah.
It's like a slight noise in your head, and it's like a niggle that doesn't go.
Yeah.
And it's like oh god, like. But that's why I said like I understood that that's something that I used to be a victim of. Is stuff like that, exactly that. Like I'd plan my entire week. And in the like, if we're going to be realistic, your week will never go exactly how you plan.
Yeah.
That's why I tend to not try and plan stuff too far ahead. Like I have my goals, so like I have like my next song that I'd like to release at this time, like end of Feb, for instance. It's like I will release it at the end of Feb because I've got plenty of time. But like as to when I get to work on that, when I'm going to get the artist on that, when I'm going to do this. That's all sort of like whenever I choose to plan
it. But you just know the end, you know the finish line kind of thing.
Yeah, but you'll leave tonight and I'll say, right, I've done this. So then tomorrow what I'm going to say is I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go straight to the gym.
Yeah.
Because I know I haven't got anything on tomorrow to go to the gym. As soon as I get back from the gym, I'm going to have some food. And then I'm going to start getting to work on the preview clips of this podcast. Obviously, I'm still like rebranding and remanaging all of my socials currently anyway. So like I'll plan tonight, but another really important thing for me personally that I feel is really important, and some of the viewers and even yourself you might take it, is a lot of people fail to add into their routine when they get downtime.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
They routine everything that they need to do, but they don't actually routine everything that they don't need to do.
Yeah, I saw a post actually recently. It said something like, creative people need time to sit around and do nothing, and it's so accurate because you need, especially because people like us, our minds are so, and I think some people that aren't creative, it's hard for them to grasp, and I don't blame them for it, but like I think some people don't realize how active people like me and you, our minds are like every single day. So like that downtime's required, and it's that type of thing once again where I'm going to use women as an example again, but women. When a woman really wants your time or really wants to see you, it's hard to kind of get that separation. Yeah. Whether you're dating or not, or whether it's the first time you're seeing them, whatever. They will always almost take it as offense that you don't want to see them. It's like, no. It has nothing to do with whether I want to see you or not. I just need to like re-regulate myself and just either shut down and rest or like reconfigure my brain. And you can't do that whilst you're in the heat of doing something else. You need time to step back and reset.
100%,
and
yeah.
just like,
it's like I never ever the time that I come up with my best ideas and the time that I feel like I have the best motivation, weirdly enough, is when I'm feeling like I'm being lazy.
Yeah.
So I'll like sort of like do something in the week and maybe I won't do as much during the week and I'm like, oh, I feel really sluggish. But then I'll like sit down, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to watch some anime, obviously. Like I like to watch a lot of anime. Like recently I've been watching this one called Samurai 7. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a...
I've heard of that. It was based on the film, isn't it? The Seven Samurai film. And I saw an advertisement for that, actually. I didn't know.
It's only got like 6 episodes, which is frustrating. Like Netflix does this really frustrating thing where they just make these limited
series that are really short.
Only have 8 episodes all the time, which is annoying because they're so good.
As soon as you get into it, it ends.
And like because they've got that time, it's almost as if like when you're doing a story for a movie, or when you're planning like the storyline for a movie, you know that you're planning a storyline within sort of 2 hours.
Yeah.
When you plan a storyline for a series, if that series is really good, realistically, you plan that within like 20 hours.
Yeah.
You give yourself 8. It's still you got to rush
it down.
I'll sit down and watch that, and then as soon as I sit down and watch that, I'll probably watch the first episode. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like my mind's at rest. Second episode, I'll start to be like, oh, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. And then the third episode, I'm like, right, now I'm going to get up and go do this. But like, if I wasn't to do that and just to go non-stop every day, I would never get that urge to go do it. I would just be doing stuff because I'm telling myself I need to do stuff.
Yeah, and your brain won't get that time to sit and like think within your thoughts. Like, oh yeah, let me go do this now. Let me do that. Like that just little moment where your mind is at peace and you're still doing something. You're not literally sat in a dark room doing nothing. You're still watching something, enjoying something. But then it just allows your mind to go at a slow, steady pace, and then it naturally just kind of finds what it wants to do next. And
you got to normalize adding self-care and tight like downtime. Like people have to normalize adding that into their routine or rota, whatever it is that they've got, whatever they do every week. Even if it's an hour, 15 minute, like an hour one day, 15 minutes spread across 7 days, whatever. That downtime is incredible for people. Not even just creatives, everyone.
Yeah,
you know?
Because it helps, like I said, like it helps re-regulate your mind, but put it at rest. So it's almost like recharging your mind, like and your whole just body and your energy levels, so that the next day or the next thing you do, you've got the right amount of energy to kind of execute it how you want to do it. And it's very important. Another thing I feel like is important, which I'm getting into the habit of now. I've started to realize it now, and I think it's partially the OCD and partially just maybe getting a little older, and I'm like, I need to like actually write shit down more. Like if I've got a plan, whether it's a plan with someone else or something that I just want to do, I need to start using the calendar on my phone more, just so that takes the weight off my mind of having to remember that thing is there. Because I think this is definitely an OCD thing, where if I've got X amount of things planned in a week and I haven't got it written down somewhere, it's like I'm got the pressure on my head to remember all these different things.
Yeah.
Whereas if I can just take that pressure off my head, put it in the phone, let the phone tell me that, then I don't have to worry about that. And that's extra brain capacity that I can go towards something else for the week. And then also like making plans. Like you said, you don't like to specifically plan things out. Like say in 3 weeks time, you don't know what you're doing, but you kind of got an idea of what you want to achieve by the end of the 4th week. That goes to like, once again, like if you're meeting people again, like I can make an arrangement with someone in a couple of weeks' time, but at the same time, when I do that, that kind of irks me in a way at the same time, like
because it's on you.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm gonna I'll keep using women as an example, but yeah, if you make a plan with a woman, oh yeah, we'll meet in like 2 weeks, especially if it's a woman that you're meeting for the first time, and it's like, okay, that's in the back of my head in 2 weeks, but it's like I don't realistically know how I'm gonna feel in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I might be burnt out. Like, and then it's like, this ain't the ideal scenario for me to meet someone for the first time. Or like, it's just things like that where, and I think just people need to be more mindful of other people's mental state, not necessarily in the sense of them being depressed or anything, but just in terms of energy levels.
Yeah.
And other things that might be on their mind, whether it's work, whether it's gym, whether it's just other things, life kind of things that you have to deal with, and just how all of those things affect people mentally in a different way and affect their energy levels. And like people just need to be more considerate of that, because I see it sometimes with the way people talk to me. There's like this immediacy where they'll talk and they'll be like, okay, I've made it clear I want to see you now, so I expect to see you like now or today like or tomorrow. Yeah. And it's like, well,
you're at the book here.
And the other thing, and this is I'm not gonna say I made this phrase up because I didn't, but like I heard it somewhere, but it's people tend to think just because I've forgotten what it is now.
Such a good saying.
People tend to think just because you may have no plans, you're available, but not having any plans doesn't make you available. Like if I've got a day off work, people might think, okay, you got a day off work, that means you got time, you're available to sing. No. Like, just because I've got the time off doesn't mean I'm necessarily available, because I may need that time to myself.
Well, yeah, because sometimes having no plan is a plan.
The plan, yeah.
You know? Like it sounds stupid to say, but sometimes you have to plan just to do nothing. Like I actually said to Ella today, like today, like yesterday, I spent hours rearranging. So I've deleted my main social, and I've got like 3 TikToks and 2 Instagrams now, which are like all separate. So like my podcast Instagram, podcast TikTok, gaming TikTok, personal TikTok, and then personal Instagram. I spent 5-6 hours yesterday doing all of those. So they're all separate now, but it took time, and then on top of that, I uploaded a video and made a video, and then the day before that, I did editing for the podcast. I did editing for my own stuff. I did obviously last night I actually worked as well on the night time, and then I did gym, everything like that. So like I've been doing all these things. So I just said like today, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna chill today. I'm not really gonna do much. I'm gonna upload 1 video to each of them, or 1 post to each of them. I'm gonna leave it at that. I've got the podcast later on with T. And like for the rest of the day, I'm just basically just gonna sort of like flow and chill. So I didn't go gym today. I'm not fussed about not going gym because I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I can go Saturday and I can go Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So it's like people put pressure on themselves. Like they're so someone that I think is a very big culprit of this. And like he might not like me saying it, but is Abdi. So like I've spoke to Abdi, and Abdi's like, I'm like, oh, did you fancy meeting up for like a catch up, or did you fancy like going to the gym? And he's like, oh well, like I've got to get like 3 YouTube videos recorded tonight, and then I've got to go to like, because he does like taekwondo lessons now or something like that. So I got the lessons, then I've got work, then I've got to go gym, and I've got to eat in between this. And it's like okay, cool. So like that's a stacked day. Like is that like an everyday thing? And he's like, yeah, this is every day. Yeah, he's doing it every single day. Like,
and it's not to knock someone's like, because everyone likes what they like and finds their flow what they do. But I know some people like that where there's a few people I know, and she's very full on with what she does. She does like fitness stuff. She's a PT and stuff like that, and it's all good. Like she's great. Like I wish more success to her. She's doing really well for herself. But I see, and there's been times in the past where I've like questioned it with her, almost like what you did with Agdi, where it's like I've maybe asked like when she's available, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not available for like the next couple of months." And I'm like, "Okay, not for PT. This ain't even for PT.
Like
this is just for like personal interaction as a friend, just catching up." And it's like, cool, that's fine. But then I'm like, okay, I'm just asking this question as a friend to you, not in the case of like I feel entitled to see you, but more so just to make sure you're okay. Like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you going like, full on 100 miles an hour for 2 months straight, to the point where you can't even find downtime to see anyone or to do anything leisurely for yourself outside of that routine that you have? Like, it's all good having a routine, but you need to be able to enjoy yourself. And like, there's not to say that you don't enjoy yourself within the routine, but you need to be able to have a bit of flexibility for, once again, like we said before, the downtime. Because I know she's an example of someone I know, she burns herself out. And she talks to me about it sometimes. I'm like, yeah, but it's because you're just going full on. And it's like,
oh yeah. And then, like, that's the other thing as well. I'm speaking specifically for creatives. I don't know if this would actually necessarily relate to people who just love, like, they got that incredible work ethic and they just love to like just smash work. But like, if you are a PT, you are technically a creative, because you do actually have to think of new and exciting ways to sort of motivate people and new and exciting ways to promote your own
and you
content.
do have like a big schedule you do have to stick to as well.
But like, you don't ever know where you're gonna find your next bit of inspiration from as well. Like for me personally, I actually get a lot of my ideas and a lot of my creative ideas and a lot of my creative motivation from seeing other people, because you just speak.
Yeah, it's definitely
someone will mention a
conversations.
song, or someone will say something, or like, and you don't even know, or you just be laughing with someone, and then you never know what's gonna come. But even like PTing specifically, like especially hanging around with someone who's a like-minded individual in terms of fitness, you'll never know what you're going to get in terms of motivation and inspiration from that person. Like, so you can get yourself in this rut and feel like you're as motivated as you want to be, but there's always ways you can be more. Yeah,
there's always a new avenue that you might find that might give you a fresh idea. Like, I felt like that was me at a point, because there was like a point in time. It's weird, like when I go back in time and think, like, I've never been really the dating person in the typical sense of let's go out to eat here, let's go out until maybe like a couple years ago. But then I realized that there was a point in time where like I did like become like a serial dater, and I realized what the real desire behind that was. I think for me was I just enjoy conversation. And like you said, I get inspired from talking to people, seeing different perspectives, hearing different things, and I just find it really interesting. Like, sit in front of someone and just let them talk. and then just see what they talk, where the conversation goes, and like what you can absorb from that, what you can learn from that, and vice versa. And I feel like one of the there's a lot of things that happen in life, but I feel like one of the simplest pleasures of life is just human interaction, human connection, and conversation. And like, I think that is one of the ways that I draw. I mean, I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of things, but like, I think that's one of the simplest things I can do that just gives me either a new perspective or inspiration, or just makes me feel fulfilled. Like I will come out of a situation like that, or a date or something like that, fulfilled from the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, and be like, oh, that was really good. I just got to interact with someone. Or anytime that I've had it, and I've posted about this on social media recently as well, where I've randomly crossed paths with someone. Like there was a time when I was on the way back from London one time on a coach, and there was this girl, and she just sparked up conversation. Well, what it was actually, I was sat down in the seat, and there was this drunk guy that come on. And like he was like looking around for ages for a seat to sit, and she was sat on her own by like these 4 seats.
Really awkward.
And she was like, "Oh, can you come sit here? Because I'd rather you sit here than him." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I sat down, and we just ended up having this like really in-depth conversation. And like I thought it was only one of those things. Oh yeah, cool. I'll sit here. Hello, yeah, I'm this. 5 minutes later, headphones on. Yeah. I'm just vibing. But no, we actually for the whole 3-hour journey, we're just talking back and forth, sharing music with each other, all this, and like. By the end of that, like, well, I didn't take her number or anything, actually, we swapped Instagrams, but I didn't take her number or anything like that. There was no intent to pursue or even meet up again, but it was really just fulfilling, like, oh, we just, right place at the right time, crossed paths, shared, like, a chunk of not our life, but, like, our interests in music and things like that. One of the things she did, like, straight away when I sat down was like, oh, are you hungry? And I was like, not really. She's like, oh, do you want an apple? And I'm like, this is really strange. But, like, it shouldn't feel strange. Like, it felt really strange. So, like, how many times do you go somewhere and someone offers you food or something like that, someone you don't know? But it was like, that's just genuine human kindness. It's like, that should be something that's more normalized.
Yeah, of course.
And that whole situation, when that situation ended and we both went our separate ways, it was like, that was really fulfilling. Like, that was just a very, like, back to basics, just in the real world, cross paths with you, we have a conversation, and yeah, we need more of that. But then, like, from that, inspiration comes and just other things, and it makes me think about other things differently, and I'm like, oh yeah, this, and like, it's just stuff like that. I think there's a lot of value in those type of things, and like, if you are so hammered into your routine and things like that, you miss those moments. Like, you will not find those 100%. Moments if you're so locked in. And like, I can understand what makes someone stay locked in that zone, because it almost fits into like what we were saying about the gym routine and timekeeping. And say if I miss a gym day in 1 week, it feels all off sync. But like, there's a way to balance all of those things. So you've got the time to do the extra stuff that you haven't planned for that might be beneficial.
No, 100%. Wow.
But yeah, that
was a TJ Talks Health and Wealth edition.
Yeah, that was. I think there's a lot of stuff for people to mine out of that one. Like,
yeah, no, there's been a lot of like chat about our personal views and sort of like what we've like our opinions on things, but then also like a little bit of sort of insight in terms of like potentially some motivation and even potentially some help for people who've got that stuff. So like, no, I really enjoyed it.
Because people like us, we've been doing it for a long time. Like, whatever creative stuff we do, we've been doing it for almost like 10 years. So it's like we kind of know the ins and outs for ourselves personally of what works for us and stuff like that. And you kind of just got to figure that out for yourself.
And then what would be great as well on top of that is obviously any other creators or any other people who've been doing the same thing, if they can post, because obviously we're not the finished article, we're not perfect. Like we've got a relatively good formula, but then there's again, like there'll probably be people who do more than that. Like so no, really good.
Everyone's opinions are welcome. But if there's one thing you take away from this, like one key thing that you may not have thought about, it's the downtime. You need that downtime to like re-regulate. Think of it as charging your phone. Like, your phone dies, you got to charge it back up. Like 100%. You want to try and charge yourself back up before the battery runs out on your body. Because I've been burnt out a few times. When you get like that proper burnout, it's not pretty.
Downtime is majorly important. And like I said, it not even just I'm going to take from this, I really need downtime. Find a way that you can put the downtime in that isn't going to make you feel any type of adverse or negative feeling about the downtime. Yeah. So account for it. But really good. But
that's it for this episode.
Chicken out, man.
Yeah, it's a good one.
TJ Talks.
Until next time.
Oh, that's decent, man. I really hope that the